Hi everybody, it's Debbie and welcome back to Warm Yellow Shade. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am putting together my dry palette. Woo! So after my wet palette fiasco, I did have this on my list of to-dos. And as I was filming this, it was New Year's Eve and I was in a bit of a funk, I think it was, just the end of the year sort of thing, and I think a lot of us were having strange feelings about it all. Anyhow, I was having a hard time drawing, and nothing was working. Everything looked stiff and weird. Some days you just have those days where, I don't know, your head's not in the right place, and so things aren't really working. I think it's really a state of mind situation, So, I didn't have the energy, let's say, to draw, but I still wanted to get something done. So I thought I would film this video because it would just give myself something to do, and also it's slightly creative because there's some color mixing, but it's pretty low pressure, and use time or lose time, right? So I pulled out my old Lucas tin. It is probably, it is the oldest tin that I own, and one of the first art materials that I bought myself when I moved to Berlin. The paints in there are mostly not the original paints. I was using it in a different way, but I don't use it so much, so I thought I would repurpose it for this, and that way it gets more love. I bought a bunch of empty pans last year. You can get them really cheap on the internet, and I have a bag of half pans and full pans that I can just dip into when I need to. It's nice to have. So I started out by just filling the pans with the pure color, because less thinking. And then from there I'll take little bits and start mixing colors. I've always added white to my paints, just a little bit. Makes a big difference with opacity, especially with certain colors. It's just the way that I learned to use gouache, and so I like it. And you would think it would change the color, but it really doesn't. If you just add a little bit, you can keep the hue, is what I'm saying, of the pure color, but you can increase the opacity. So I didn't really have a plan. I had like a rough idea of like colors that I had in my old palette, which was mostly like pure colors. I don't know. I don't really know what I want, so I just thought I would mix things that pleased me at the moment, and I'll use these colors. And if I see that there's something that's missing, maybe I'll make some new ones in the future. But I like mixing colors, and I think I'll still mix them when they're dry like this. At least that's what I think I'll do. I don't know if that's feasible. I mean, I haven't used a dry palette before, but I'm assuming you can still mix colors with these. I did do some swatching as I went along, because sometimes you mix something and the color in the pan looks very different to another similar color, and when you swatch them they actually dry down to almost the same tone. And so that happened a few times with the vermilion and with the viridian, and yeah, I would just put that out there for you guys, that when you're mixing gouache paint, what you see in the liquid form is not really what you're gonna get. So yeah, always test, because you just have to with this medium. Placing the colors back in the tin was the best part, and it's nice to see them all like this. They look like candy. The worst part about putting this together was the mess. I work with silicone in my regular job, and I'm used to wearing gloves when I'm doing anything sticky and messy, and I should have put a pair of gloves on, because it was driving me crazy, and I had to go and wash my hands quite a few times. So maybe you're tidier than me and you wouldn't have this problem, but it can get messy. So that's another reason why I like pans, just because less mess. I then did some swatches just to have kind of a reference of the swatches, and I also wanted to have wet swatches so that I can compare what the dry swatches look like afterwards. Once my palette has dried, I think I'll give it a few days. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to dry down, but I think probably 3 or 4 days, and I'll get a good idea of what it's going to look like. So after I put the pans back in the palette, I noticed I mixed too many colors, so I should have kept that in mind. It's a 24 pan palette, but I mean, you usually can fit 13 in a row instead of 12, so, and I was barely able to squeeze in that 13th color. So I have a few extra, which is fine. I can keep them on the side, and I'm still experimenting with this and how it's going to work for me. So because I wasn't really feeling it, my play around swatch page is even kind of weird, but I think let yourself do that. And it's cool to have pages like that in your sketchbook that you can come back to later and like paint on top of or draw on top of, and it's sort of like a doodle page that's kind of like already messed up, so that when you have days where it's like, I don't know what to do, you can just like go and play on that page, and you don't have to worry about like ruining a clean room. Because I know we all have that issue. And after I was done, I ended up heading outside. You know, some fresh air and a little nature always helps when you're feeling funky. So I made it out there for the sunset, and the last one of the year was a really pretty one. Hope you guys had a great end of the year, and thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next video. Bye now.